We've just finished the fourth National Gobeshona Conference here in Dhaka, held at the Independent University, Bangladesh. This is the fourth time we've done it. It's a 4-day long conference, the first 3 days of which is a science conference, where we had over 400 participants from Bangladesh, mostly from Bangladesh, but about a couple of dozen international participants as well from Asia, Africa, Latin America. And we also held a fourth day, which we call a Science Policy Dialogue Day, where we bring policymakers and enable researchers to talk to policymakers and present their research work and get feedback, and most importantly get advice on what kind of research we should conduct as a research community in order to provide evidence to policymakers so that the research can be demand-led. We've been doing this every year now for 4 years, so it's got into a cycle. One of the things that we do now is at the end of each conference, we come up with a few pledges or commitments or action points which we try to take forward and then report back on the following year. So it's become something of a benchmarking and monitoring event for the knowledge management, knowledge generation, and knowledge utilization regarding climate change in Bangladesh. We have about 50 institutions who are partners, public and private universities. We have a web portal with well over 2,000 publications in an archived database, which can be searchable archive. And we have a young researcher program supporting young researchers to publish in international peer-reviewed journals, all of which we presented at the conference. Going forward, we've identified 5 new action areas. The first one is not so new. It's something we decided earlier, which is to try to get outside Dhaka to other parts of the country. Last year, we made this resolution. We started with the Barind tract in the northwest of the country, which is a drought-prone zone. We've already done some work there. They reported back on it in a session here. For next year, we're going to be focusing on Sylhet, which is a Howrah wetland region prone to flash floods. And we're also going to focus on the Khulna region in the southwest of the country, which includes the Sundarbans and is a cyclone and coastal flooding prone area. And then we'll take the other parts of the country in future years. The second issue that we're going to pick up and take forward is the green growth issue. We had a couple of sessions on green growth, a lot of interest in developing it, and a research agenda to address it, particularly focusing on the needs of the private sector to implement a lot of good policies that we have in the country, but they don't see good implementation. So focusing on how to implement good green growth policies in the future, focusing particularly on the private sector. The third area that we are going to take up is an idea that came from the International Research Institute on Climate at the Columbia University in New York in the US, together with the CIMIT, the Center for Maize Research in Bangladesh, to develop a climate services academy. There's a lot of work on developing climate services and reaching it to people, a lot of different people working in tandem and sometimes together, sometimes separately, in parallel, trying to bring everybody together and to develop some capacity building training activities under a climate services academy. So we will be taking that forward as well. The fourth and final area that we are working on is on developing visual and other communication tools that we can use both for doing research but also for disseminating research. These would include video, other kinds of visual aids, radio, television, social media like Facebook and Twitter, and others that we might be able to do. And we'll have a group working on this and again report back next year. The final thing that I'll mention is a program that we had initiated last year, but this year we have now elaborated it into a plan of action. It's going to be a young innovators tackling climate change competitive program. We'll start in Bangladesh under the Gobeshona initiative. We will also apply it in the South Asian countries under the Climate Action Network South Asia initiative in the South Asian countries, and then in the least developed countries through the LDC Universities Consortium on Climate Change. The idea would be to have a competition at national level for innovative ideas from young people have a competition and award, select the winners, and the winners would then come next year to Gobeshona 5 and attend here, and we would add a youth component to Gobeshona 5, which would be a pre-Gobeshona one-day youth meeting for all the winners who come here. The award will be given, and then a day, another day at the end of Gobeshona, so that the youth can again come together and plan what they want to do next. So we are going to add a significant youth or young people's component into the Gobeshona Conference from next year, and hopefully be able to continue that beyond that. So 8th to 11th January 2019 in Dhaka, everybody is invited to attend.